Well, good morning and welcome back to the shop. It is 10:30 in the morning. It's already about 28 degrees Celsius outside. It's going to be a hot one. The good news is I am almost done. What I've been doing for the last hour is I've been going over this entire car with my hand, every nook and cranny, every edge, every corner, every place, feeling for issues with the paint. Now, since we sprayed this with primer just a little while ago, I've already gone and I've taken this whole car with 600 and we've sanded it so that it's a consistent texture. But the first pass, you never really are, the first pass you don't really realize it, but sometimes in these corners, like right there, you are going to build up some paint. Paint will build up in corners, it always does. And the first pass with my 600, I didn't get this totally flat. I can feel it here where the paint is a little rougher, and that's simply because it went on a little thicker in that corner, and that now that it's a little thicker, when you sand it, you can actually feel it with your hand. So I can simply take the sandpaper, run it around the corner, and yes, I'm using my bare fingers, because if you think at this point 600 paper with my fingers is going to make dents in this, it's not going to happen. Also, I orientate the sanding so I don't run my hand this way, I run my hand this way. So I'm not creating any furrows in the paint. Also too, the sandpaper is taking up some of that. And literally, this 600 is taking this off and turning it into a fine chalk. It is fantastic. But you can feel that. You can feel when it's that fine chalky texture, silky, and then you can feel it where there's actually a little bit of roughness again. And it really is simply the fact that when I went by this the first time, I didn't want to be too aggressive. I didn't want to take off too much of the paint. But look, that is fantastic now. So, another half an hour. This cover is ready. I'm going to go through all the panels again, make sure 100% that they're all like this. And then we're going to clean the shop up. This is a mess in here. This is all coats of primer and everything's on the floor. Bodywork's on the floor. We're going to come back in here. We're going to blow this all out. We're going to come back with my power washer. I'm going to power wash this floor, get it all out of the garage. Then we're going to build a jig. What I need to do is I need to suspend the doors in the same orientation as they will be on the car. The reason I need to do that is because these doors don't have a finite edge between the back of the door and the front of the door. So it's not like the 68 where I have two distinct front and back panels with a window up the center where you can paint the back and you can paint the front, no problem. This has got to be painted at the same time. I can't mount it on the car to paint it because then I won't be able to get into all the nooks and crannies around the edges of the doors. So I need those doors in a situation where I can paint them, but they have to be up. So I'm going to be building a metal jig, and stay tuned, I'm going to build that with you as well. So finish this, clean the garage, we are going to build a jig together, and then this car is ready for paint. Now that in itself is going to be a challenge because we are putting stripes on this car. Those stripes have got to end up inside these areas here. So if those stripes have to end up inside the area, I can't paint it while the hood is on. Well, I don't need to. The hood is sitting on a jig over here, which is keeping it flat, and that's the same way it's oriented on the car. It'll be fine. Once we spray the stripe color on this car, then we have to take this hood, put it on, take the trunk, put it on, and then we're going to mask out the stripes. We're going to run our tape, we're going to run the masking, we're going to mask all of the stripes, and then once the stripes are masked, we can take the hood back off again, because then we can come in with the paint and we can actually paint this car. You'll also notice that all of the masking is gone, right? All that paper here, because all of that has been corrupted. It has been covered in primer. I'm going to change all of that out to brand new. But again, we're going to clean this car first. Before we do that, we're going to clean this engine bay out. We're going to do all of that first. But let's finish the car. I'm going to run through, as I said, make sure that I don't feel anything on the paint. Once that's done, we're going to put a mask on and we're going to start cleaning this place out. I'll see you in a few seconds. Well, as promised, the jig for the door has been created. Now, you think to yourself, how did you do this? Is this laser cut? Did you send this out because it's so gorgeous? Well, listen, you have to start with these very detailed plans, and you got to spend at least 5 or 10 seconds drawing this thing out, because anything less, you won't do it justice. Then get some cardboard and use the cardboard to emulate the clips or where the brackets are going to go to hold the door, so you can cut out where the bolts are. Of course, they're different because, of course, why not? Then the next thing you gotta do is convert those brackets into steel. So you take that cardboard, lay it out on steel, cut out the steel, and there you go, you got your brackets. And then you use exacting measurements and you put this thing together. You weld it on the ground, make sure everything's good. You weld it, put it together, weld the tabs on, mount the doors, and I now have a great way to be able to paint these doors, get into all the nooks and crannies from behind and in front to make sure that these are nicely covered. I can't paint this car with these doors mounted. There's just no way. They come too close to the body, they get in the way, I'll touch them. It'll be a mess. I know it will be. I'm avoiding all of that problem by creating this mount. Also, what we're doing today is we are finalizing remasking the car. As you can see here, I put the aluminum tape around the hood opening. Now I just got to lay my paper in there and then tape my paper together, and we will seal this car back up, ready for paint. Speaking of paint, today is the day. We are going to the paint shop this afternoon and we are picking up a gallon of the color for this car. Now, I'm not going to spoil it, I'm not going to tell you the color. I'm going to show you the color later on when I bring the paint back. I'm also going to talk what we're doing about the stripe. The stripe's going to be a little special. It's going to be the first time I've done it. Well, it's going to be the first time I've done a lot of things, but hey, what the hell, we're going to try it anyways. And I'll step you through all of that, and then we'll see what comes out of the end. I mean, if it's great, then hey, copy me. If it doesn't look good, then don't do what I say, right? Anyways, if you like the video, hit that like button, and I'll see you a little later with that paint.